When it comes to success in any field of business, psychology is the key that unlocks doors most sellers don't even realize exist. Because by understanding the human brain, we can learn more about the language the brain uses, which is vastly different than the language that we use to speak with. And when you learn to speak the brain's language, you can begin to utilize that same language within your shop and marketing. In today's video, I'll be breaking down a few strategies that appeal directly to the brain's subconscious language so that you can begin marketing your product more scientifically. For those who are new here, my name is Starla Moore, founder of the Handmade Alpha Academy for Etsy sellers and manager at erank.com, Etsy's most popular SEO tool, which most of you know already. But what you may not know is that before Etsy, I started out as a preschool teacher, where I began my very first studies into human brain development and behavioral psychology. What most people don't realize is that marketing is psychology. We just tend to spend so much time focusing on charts and graphs and numbers that we forget about the human behaviors that dictate action. And if marketing is just an effort to persuade someone to take a desired action, like buying one of your products, it only makes sense that understanding basic human psychology can have huge benefits for the average marketer. The halo principle. It doesn't matter how great your product is if it's positioned poorly. If you need a visual example, try searching for an item on Facebook Marketplace versus that same item on Etsy. Clearly, one of these platforms comes off as being more professional. The halo principle in marketing explains that when we see an element of a product that we perceive as being amazing, we typically perceive the whole product as being amazing. And the same goes for brands. One sour impression of a product photo, how you respond to bad reviews, or even the strict nature of your policies can have a dramatic impact on your halo. Even the marketplace itself can contribute to your halo. On the flip side, the halo effect is exactly why people form brand loyalties. Lifelong Coke drinkers may have fond memories of drinking glass-bottled Coke as children, forever forming their impression of the Coca-Cola company as a whole. When it comes to your own products, photography, and marketing, take time to consider all of the areas where first impressions of your brand could be formed. Remember, first impressions have a lasting impact, and every first impression has the potential to be your last impression. Confidence in marketing. One of the biggest mistakes that I see Etsy sellers making through their social media marketing is the portrayal of an overall lack of confidence. Like many animals, we are hardwired to perk our ears and listen to those who display leadership qualities. And this air of confidence shines through your marketing. Marketing without clear signs of passion causes others to assume that you lack confidence in your product, thus causing them to lack confidence too. I see this a lot with POD sellers who attempt to make as many items as possible with no clear passion for what they're doing. And if you're not confident and passionate about your items, why should I be? Not only can this drive customers away, but it also leaves original ideas vulnerable, showing potential competitors exactly how to execute their own marketing better than you. As stated by author and marketing expert Harry Beckwith, marginal tactics executed passionately almost always will outperform brilliant tactics executed marginally. Anchor pricing. When it comes to pricing your items, it's important to become familiar with the anchor of your industry. This is defined as the reference point that buyers use when associating the value of a product relative to its price. For example, if I showed you this pencil and asked you how much you'd be willing to pay for it, you might give me a range of anywhere between a few cents and $1. But if I told you that this pencil cost $10, you'd likely want to know what on earth could justify this price. You already have an anchor for what you believe this product should cost. On the flip side, if I showed you two identical diamond engagement rings, but one was labeled at $10,000 while the other was only labeled at $100, you would likely assume that the $100 ring was an inferior product. The perceived value of the ring increases the more the ring's price increases, because for an engagement ring, we tend to have a much higher anchor in mind. Another benefit of anchor pricing comes from how we perceive the value of a discounted item. For example, if I were to buy this $275 Coach purse on sale with 40% off, I would still value my purse at $275, even though I only paid $165. When showing my purse to my friends, I might even say things like, "This purse is worth almost $300, but I bought it for only $165. In this scenario, the purse is valued for its original price. This is a useful strategy, but it can be overdone by hosting too many sales too frequently. For example, Bath & Body Works sells their 3-wick jar candles for $25 to $30. But every few weeks, they drop those prices to around $15, sometimes less. And anyone who frequently shops at Bath & Body Works will tell you that they never pay full price for candles when huge discounts take place all the time. In this scenario, their candles are no longer valued for their original price because their customers know to expect sales frequently. As someone who studies neuromarketing and MIT case studies almost every day, I have hundreds of these unique stories and perspectives to share. To keep this video short, I'm going to share just one more tip for today, but it comes with the offer to make more videos like this if you found this one interesting. Let me know in the comments or like this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll consider turning this into a series. Okay, let's move on to our last strategy: underlying experience. Last Christmas, I bought this cardinal sun catcher for my husband's grandmother. The seller was Ukrainian and included a small business card with the Ukrainian flag and a bit about their story. When I gifted this item to Mark's grandma, I didn't just say, "Here's your sun catcher." I said this sun catcher was handmade by a Ukrainian seller. We had it shipped all the way to the US for you. Now, for those of you who live outside of the US, this probably sounds like such a silly thing. But keep in mind that most US citizens don't even have passports because our country is just so large. Painted with this perspective, it stands to reason that anything coming from outside of the US is naturally interesting because it contains a story. And so few sellers take advantage of the story that their products can tell. Sure, many items are bought out of necessity. We need items like toilet paper and trash bags, which seem to leave little room for storytelling. But every item has a unique opportunity to tell a story. And when people know this story, they aren't just buying the item. They're buying the story that comes with it. Storytelling is a crucial part of human history. At one time, we valued storytelling so much that ancient tribes appointed storytellers to carry their traditions, heroes, and legacies. Today, in place of appointed storytellers, we have podcasts, comedians, authors, movies, and yes, even marketers. When it comes to our overall receptiveness for marketing, we know when something is too salesy. It's why no one likes going to a car dealership only to be followed around by a too helpful sales rep. But when it comes to brands that tell stories, we immediately take a different level of interest. We listen, we watch, and we wait for a satisfying conclusion at the end. From there, we can form an opinion based on the story and the product, rather than just the item itself. So spend time thinking about your own brand story. It could be the process of how you make your items, the hardships that you faced that led you to starting a business, or even a family legacy that you've chosen to carry. These stories give life to items, which is why every time my husband's grandmother has family over at her house, she proudly tells everyone about her handmade Ukrainian sun catcher, rather than just saying, "Look at my sun catcher." Human psychology is a guiding force that dictates every decision you make, whether you're aware of these decisions or not. For a little more information about our unconscious and irrational behavior, I recommend checking out this book, Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely. In the meantime, let me know if you'd like more of these videos in the future. Until next time.